Loaded news day. What does the future hold for Jack Riewoldt? Is it another career at his beloved Tigers, adding to these decorated days at Punt Road, or is it time to join us more permanently on this side of things? I reckon the exit meeting would have made pretty good viewing today.
Has a decision been made with Jack yet? When's his exit interview?
I think it's tomorrow. I think it is. So, big day.
Well, it is a big day for him. Is it, or it might not be a big day? Can you give us a hint? Just tell us. Why not?
What do you mean?
Is he playing on?
Well, you'll have to wait till tomorrow. It really is. Jack's done everything in his power to play what it is. And what we have to do is we've got a great understanding about where we're at now, but more importantly, where we need to take the club to move forward. And the jumper and the man in the jumper is important, but the jumper is the first and foremost thing we're thinking about when we're making decisions. So that is a business decision, but there's also the human element of what this guy means to us.
So let's find out, shall we? At the top of the agenda, he's had the exit meeting and he's with us tonight. Jack Riewoldt, welcome back to 360.
How are we, boys?
It's like the verdict, isn't it? I'm taking my talents to
South Beach.
How has it landed, Jack?
No, I'm going around again next year, which is exciting. I'm really excited to be playing again for the Tigers in 2023. I feel a bit embarrassed how much this has sort of been blown up a little bit. I'm just an old codger that's got to the end of my career that just going to roll around again. So it's very exciting. One thing I'm really proud of is the fact that there was no sort of quick decisions. It was actually made together. So, and that's probably the thing that sort of holds me in good stead going into next year, knowing that the club still see me as a serviceable player, and I still feel like I'm got plenty to play for.
Oh, Damien forecast that there might be a bit of argument today. Tell me there was at least a little bit of argy-bargy.
Funnily enough, I went into my exit review, and the thing we sort of came out of it was like, oh, well, you had a pretty good year again. We're happy with how you're going. And we could basically replay the interview from the last 5 years of my career that I'm a serviceable player. I'm just not the superstar maybe I used to be, or the way that I feel like the focal point. But I'm playing my role and I'm excited to play. And I'm also really excited about where the future for the football club looks, and the imminent future, which I'll be involved in, we feel can be a successful one.
Jack, congratulations, mate. And it's a big deal because you're a champion of Richmond and you're a champion of the game, and that's why it's a big deal with Trent announcing earlier today that he was playing on, which is also terrific news. When you were going in today, driving in, did you actually know what was going to happen? And were you a nervous little boy again?
No, I sort of knew what was going to happen. Funnily enough, Carly's been hassling me about getting the car clean for a bit. So I parked the car at the car wash in Yarra, down at Punt Road, and walked a couple of k's in, sort of a bit of thinking time. I made a few phone calls on the way in, and then, I sort of knew what was going to happen. But it's more just about sorting out I suppose the financial side of it was the thing that just was really the ticking off. And that's not an argument over money. It's actually sort of what's left in the pie to keep the club stable and pay me for next year, which is probably the most insignificant thing, because I think a lot's been made of that I'm being underpaid or lowballed or whatever. And I think for me, I've been very lucky to have been paid extremely well for a long period of time now, that I'm not playing for any sort of financial gain, really. I'm playing to hopefully win another premiership.
So how much are you getting paid, Jack?
How little?
How little?
Well, probably a quarter of what I was on when I was getting paid more. So this is dinner tonight.
What's that? The 2-minute noodle?
Yeah. And I've had one beer, so I've got a Bolter beer here. No Cascade over here in Victoria, but no, that's beer for the next pre-season.
I reckon, seriously, I actually think, Jack, that you would have walked this year if you believed that you were holding a young person out of the team. Is that far off the mark or not?
I probably think that's something that I've factored into my thought process, Robbo. Like, I've known what it's like to be a sole key forward in a football club. I feel like I add value to the way Lynchy plays and Lynchy's game. And I'm really excited about what the next part is, and probably my role next year looks like. I may not play every game, and I may have to. I look at probably the way Jared Ruffhead finished his career. He went back and played games in the reserves and whatnot. Granted, I want to play every week in the seniors, but I've got to help evolve the group into the next period of time, that next generation. I mean, Shane Edwards leaves, Kane Lambert leaves. We lost Dave Asprey last year, and Josh Caddy left this year as well. Is that that's going to be part of the I suppose the job title for myself and Trent is that we want to make this transition really smooth into that next generation, and a generation that we can sit in the stands with our kids and be very proud of.
So why is it that you want to play on, Jack? I suspect you've got your life pretty well set to move out of footy. It feels that way. Why the desire to do it again?
Well, I think it gives great structure in my life, which I really enjoy. With a young family, knowing what your workload looks like is really important. I think that's an important part that I look to. I firmly believe that the club's in a really good position, and I'm really disappointed about how it finished this year, because I still feel like we could have maybe gone the whole way if a few things had fallen our way. But I feel like next year could be a really fruitful year for us, and I really want to be a part of that. And ultimately, I love bloody playing footy. That's pretty much the crux of it. I feel like I can still play at the top level, and there's nothing like going out and kicking the ball in front of the Tiger faithful at the MCG. And I want to try and soak up as much as I possibly can.
Nerves of steel in the last quarter on Saturday. Jack, you always remain clutch. I need to ask you one question. Since Luke Hodge left Hawthorn and went to Brisbane, there's been a pretty popular, I suppose, opinion about experienced players going to another club and helping, and the maturity of you and your leadership's been talked about for the last 5-6 years. Did a club approach you about if it doesn't work out at Richmond, would you consider coming to them?
No AFL ones. Maybe a country footy club.
Well,
I think, Robbo, to be honest, it's probably the one thing that I'm most proud of. And when my journey does finish, if it is at the end of next year, it's the fact that I've been a one-club player. That's really important to me, because I've really only played football for 3 football clubs. I played for my school team. I played for Clarence Football Club, the team that my dad played 297 games for, and now I played at Richmond. So that is really, really important to me. So I'll be glad to be finishing up as a Tiger, and I'll ever hold that as a badge of honour.
Are you holding a grudge over Thursday night? How are you dealing with it a few days on?
I'm still a bit pissed, to be honest. But just when you get to the end of your career and you've got not many opportunities of winning it again, something like that slides away. So, I mean, one thing I'm really excited about is this $4.5 billion deal. I can't wait to see what that new improved arc looks like next year. I mean, that's going to be unbelievable. That sort of money, we should have cameras everywhere. So that's going to be great.
Very good.
So you're staying, Damien Hardwick is staying, Trent Cotchin is staying, and Dimmer told us last night in another weird and wonderful Damien Hardwick appearance on 360 that Dustin Martin is absolutely going to be at the Tigerland next year. So you must be pretty pleased with all that.
Yeah, that's it's great. It's funny how Dimmer used to dread me going on 360, and now he's sort of taken the role of what I used to play, a bit of the class clown on the show. So maybe he's setting himself up for a career in the media post coaching. So no, it's I mean, I understand why there's a lot of commentary around Dustin, because he's an enigma, and obviously it's probably more of a public figure rather than an AFL player. And a culture figure, so people want to know what's going on in his life. But he's been great over the last 8 weeks. I know he's been injured, but his buy-in's been great. So we're excited seeing him back for pre-season day one.
Jack, congratulations. It keeps you here on Tuesday night on Active Players Night. We'll delay the relocation by another year. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, boys. And you guys can breathe easy in those chairs for another year, so good on you.
Jack Riewoldt's going on for another year at the Tigers.
Oh, so he should. You know, his friends would have told him if they thought he was labouring and slowing up. They would have. I'm not a great friend of Jack's, but I know him pretty well. I said to Jack, you are playing well enough to go on. I don't know if you said something to him, but I know others have.
Yeah. The evidence was there on Thursday night, wasn't it?
Oh, that last
Still a
quarter,
valuable part of that
he
team.
stood up in that crunch moment, which is testament to his skill and his body, but also his mind.
Yeah.